Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Friday Eve. Let's just be real with that. Happy Friday Eve. My goodness, what a way to start the quarter. Good Lord. Good morning, Justice. Good morning. It's good to see y'all. I miss y'all. Good morning. Okay, so who's in here? All right. Let Justin in. Awesome. Awesome. Good morning. So while you're coming in and you're getting settled, go ahead and put in the chat your name, where you're located, and whether you're a Mac or a PC person. Be real. Come on. And no arguing in the chat. Hey, Melinda. My darling people. Awesome. Awesome. We're going to give it just one more minute. I'm going to switch to presentation mode and show my slide. Awesome. Good morning. Yay. Hey, Victoria. Hey, Kalia. Justice. Ooh, ooh, ooh. PC, even if I love a Mac. Oh, all right. We're going to have words. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. NJ Cote. PC. Mac Mama. All right, Melinda. Laura McDonald, Atlanta, is not a Mac person. What? Okay, we need to convert. We need to convert you. Sarah in Denver, I would say PC. Okay, all right. We'll have to chat, Sarah. We'll have to chat. We'll have to convert you too. All right. This is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. So I am really excited that y'all are here today. As you can see, I'm excited. I can't wait to get started. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started because I'm just gonna, you know me. If you know me, I talk a lot and I want to make sure to cover as much as possible because I've got a lot of goodies for you. This is going to be a thinker. All right. This is going to be a thinker. So we're not going to cover too much about like design or graphics or anything like that. We're going to talk about strategy. Strategy starts the whole process. Strategy is the initiation. It's the once we have an idea, what do we do with it? We strategize. We create, iterations of potential solutions, right? And then we have all the aesthetics that come into play so that we can tell the story and convey it. So I'm really excited about that. Okay, so see here. Isn't Teams awesome? Like, I didn't even know that we could do webinars in Teams. I was just tingling around. I was like, I don't want to use Zoom because nobody uses Zoom. Like, everybody's on Microsoft. And I'm like, well, how can we make this easy for everybody? And then I just did some research and it was like webinar. And I'm like, what? I could do Teams webinar? That is crazy pants. So I'm really excited about that because I think it's going to be very supportive of what we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on record. And this recording will be available in the chat. Okay, so it's already recorded in the chat for 24 hours, and it'll be taken down tomorrow. So even if you have to hop off to respond to an email, whatever. But remember, like if you could stay here and be with me today live, I promise you it'll be worth it. So go ahead and get something to write on, write with. This is going to be the information. And actually, there was an NIH research study that found that the kinetic and kinetic response actually helped you remember things opposed to more than typing something or using your thumbs on your phone. So that actually just came out recently. So going back to the old school, I use my Remarkable. I don't know if y'all have seen this before. Probably if you're connected with me on LinkedIn. I have a Remarkable. I love this thing. It's better than sliced bread. It probably should have came first. And I use it for just about everything in my life. Everything, everything. And I handwrite everything. It really helps me memorize and remember things. Okay, so let me see how we can do this here. There you go. Share screen. Awesome. Yeah. Okay. All right. So mastering marketing strategy. So the point of this presentation is to help you elevate your thinking, elevate your strategic marketing game overall. We're already experiencing changes in the industry. I'm just taking the data that I have collected over the past few years and put it into this presentation so that you don't have to. Okay, so you're welcome. And hopefully this can help you make decisions in your business and or in your organization and also in your careers at the end of the day. Like your organizations are already strategically thinking about the 5 to 10 year goal, right? They're already thinking about the big picture. But this is your way of connecting to the casted vision and really see yourself in in as part of the evolution. Right. There's Liz. Awesome. Okay. So in 2022, 21, the industry, so I had during COVID, we're all at home. Business was not usual and everything pretty much changed, right? The way that we did everything, went to the grocery store. It was like Instacart and DoorDash for life, right? Those were the pictures on Instagram. It was, trying to figure out what to do with what you got. People were turning on their stoves for the first time, right? Like it was just like, what? This is crazy. What does life look like without going out and, just having different experiences and connecting with people? And that really impacted us as people, as human beings. But if we look at history, we know that there is a new era right ahead, right up ahead. And how do we prepare for that? So I thought to myself, as we're getting locked down, and actually the day that everybody was basically released to go home in frantic, I got a phone call from my boss, and I was actually supposed to go back to the office that day, and he was like, "You don't have to come back. We're sending everybody home." And I'm like, why?" He's like, COVID." Oh, wow, okay. Turned on the TV and my mind was blown, right? It was just like, what just happened? And but strategically, I was thinking, how is this going to impact me long term, right? I was not in the fear mode. I was like, okay, we're going to figure this out. We're smart people. We've elected smart people. We put people in the right places to do the thing. Let's just say that. I trust that someone's in control of that. And I thought, okay, so what can I do? What am I in control of? How can I think about the future? What are some of the challenges that may arise from COVID? Because it was a global impact. It really locked us down for nearly 18 months, right? And still, I see people walking around with a mask. And so, what did that do? That changed our entire way of thinking about life. That changed our entire way of doing business, of living, right? As just consumers going to Disney World, going to a water park, and really second guessing everything for a while. A lot of people just changed their entire lives because of the pandemic. The way that they took care of their kids, they switched to homeschooling. Teachers quit. They were like, "Deuces, I'm going to a new industry." It was just a lot of change, and it was happening all at once, and it was forced upon us. So what happened to that? What happened to the industry? Yes, we received notice that there should be business as usual for through for construction, because construction needed to keep going, just like healthcare, just like the primary services to just exist in community and in society. But everybody else was sitting home, and we're trying to figure out how to do life with extra time, with different focus. And imagine, well, I don't need to not you don't need to imagine, but like think about where you were in that position. Like, where were you? Um, you're at your office, you're working, right? Something's percolating in the news, and then a week later you're at home, right? You're at home in isolation, right? And life changes significantly. And so obviously that impacts everything that human touches, everything that people touch got impacted. And so my next question was to myself, and if the industry is going to change and really actually start to feel the impacts of COVID, post-COVID, because what happens is, um, you know, this is based off studies that I've researched on NIH, is what happens to our bodies when we're going through something triggering or traumatic. it takes our body a while, our emotions a while to actually connect with what's happening. So we'll go through a fight or flight, right? We're just like, okay, we just need to get out of this situation. We need to get out of this as quickly as possible. And then on the other end, when everything starts to subdue and relax and release, you're like, what just happened, right? Those post-traumatic syndrome, like the experience of PTSD that happened after the fact that impacts us. And that's a lot of people are experiencing that, or have experienced that, and still experiencing that now, where they're just like, what does this look like? I could not believe that this happened in my lifetime, or this happened to the entire globe. It's impacted everybody. What does this mean for everyone? And I knew that there was going to be a new normal. I mentioned this on Fortis Baseline about a year or so ago, and I mentioned it on our podcast, Fortis Baseline, and I said there is going to be a new normal. I just knew, like I knew that there was going to be a new normal. I knew that something was going to change in our industry that's going to impact everything that we did. I just didn't know how. And I still have my hypothesis about how it's going to outcome, right? But I'm not in the future. I'm here in the present. I can only speculate based off the research data that I calculated or collected. And that's where I started thinking, let me go backwards to come forward. So, ironically, it has been 84 years. Poor Rose. So it has been 84 years since the start of the new era, or excuse me, the modern era of the AC industry. The modern era of the AC industry started around the 1960s with the post-war boom. It was like the economic boom, and it was also the early stars of the baby boom. And basically, the world changed, right? Even though it was a big impact to the United States, but the world changed. So we had soldiers, it was like war after war after war. The soldiers go home and they reunite with their families, and then the families grow because they reunited, you know what I'm saying? And their communities grew because of that. And so now there's a demand for bigger homes, more food, right? And so agriculture needed to catch up because we didn't have processed foods and boxes that back then as much. So it all came from farmland. So they were like, we can't hand pull, we can harvest this all our own. We need to get something to help us do this faster. And so they started to develop different types of engineering resources like tractors and machines that would help like basically harvest all of this food seasonally, and then basically ship it out to where people can get it. Farmers markets, grocery stores. You can actually read more about this if you Google and go to Walmart's history page. I think it's like a history tab on their website. You can learn more about this season. When they switched from like a frugal mart, they were more like a Walmart frugal, like they had like, it was crazy, to selling more produce, so selling more food, because that was what was needed and demand in the Midwest, and of course that spread across the country. And then stagflation and energy crisis. Of course, we got more people to take care of. Of course, there's going to be an energy crisis. Why would there not be, right? And then we have Reaganomics. So the stock market boom was really, it was a change of economy, right? There was the commodities market where, corn, grains, wheat were actually being traded, and they still are. But it was like, well, we don't have to just sell it to our neighbor. We can sell it and basically offset the cost of producing or manufacturing the supply so that we can handle the demand. Going global was 1990s. This was like the computer. The computer came in the late 1980s, but it really took flight in 1990s. And of course, at the end of the 1990s, it was the Y2K, December 31st, 1999, where everybody thought the world was going to end. And here we are on Microsoft Teams. So we did a good job. Congratulations, the human world. In 2000s, the dot-com bust, right? So it was just a shift in understanding how we can use technology like computers, right? Plugging in, well, we used to plug in, you don't have to plug in anything anymore, a cord from our computer into the wall, and somehow magically we would connect with somebody in Japan. How did that happen? But then there was the Great Recession. So we were growing too fast. Imagine if we're growing exceedingly fast. what happens if we're not sustainable along that process? Of course, things are going to deflate because it can't hold the pressure of what's occurring in the economy. And so the Great Recession, things weren't set up properly, legally, financially, so many different things. Financial literacy was the biggest impact to the American economy. And, people lost homes, there was mess. If you were there, 2010s historically low interest. So it was like it was basically like a repair after the Great Recession. It was like a recovery after what happened to the economy. And so we think of the Great Recession impacting just the United States, but it actually impacted the entire world because of imports and exports, right? And trades and doing business with other countries and like Brazil and Japan and China and UE and just like all over the place. And then COVID. So on the left-hand side, I have brackets, and I broke them out into three eras, if you will. So the 60s to the early 2000s, that really was a time where things were starting to pick up. It was an evolution of how we were doing things just to live in existence. And so there was a lot of change, but there was a lot of creativity too. If you look back at books like from Earl Nightingale or uh, name I can't remember his name. Oh man, what's his name? But other authors from that time, you'll see that they had more creative ideas about how people needed to live and how people needed to work and how people needed to basically just exist in communities than they did in the 2000s, because in the 2000s were really dominated by technology because it was shifting how we could create community. And now we can see that on social media, right? We can create community on social media. We don't even need to house them in a physical in-person presence. We can have it virtually. We can have a community from New Zealand and Australia and Japan and China and Korea and South America, like Colombia and all over the world, and still have a community all in one place all at the same time. So it's really has shifted the way that human beings have thought about what living is. And of course, that has shifted our industry. What I believe is going to happen in the next 10 years, or at least the next 6 years, by 2030, is going to be an exceedingly amount of change in our industry. Because you can see the first 40 years was just really focused on just, taking care of people, right? And then 2000s and 2010s, this was like, okay, take care of people, but how can we monetize this? How can we build businesses that are structured to create, to create wealth and to give jobs and, where are we going to take care? How are we going to take care of all these people that were born just 40 years ago, 50 years ago, 60 years ago? Where are they going to go? Well, we need to have jobs. We need to create new industries. And so we need to create new roles and responsibilities for those individuals so that we can continue to have a booming economy. That's why employment is so very important to our economy. So 2030s, I believe that is going to be something completely different than we've ever experienced. And I do think that in the last few years, we've seen just a glimpse of what technology is doing to our industry. And I believe it's going to accelerate even more. It's a good thing, actually. I'm going to share with you in a moment why. So industry, the evolution of the industry, incorporating digital and robotic technologies as standard practices. This is my definition of the new normal. This is how I think of the new normal, and what the new era of AC is going to look like. Team, I think the change in the role of responsibility is going to change from top down. I think the responsibility is what we believe that they are is going to evolve because everything else around us is evolving. Our clients are evolving, their clients are evolving, the people are evolving. Like everything that we do is people connected. So every time there is a new thing, a new change to consumer behavior, like we're talking about Kanye West. Like, why are we talking about Kanye West right now? Or are we talking about Trump? Like, why are we talking about Trump right now? Like, everything is interconnected, and we need to understand strategically how it impacts the industry. Client, the altered perspective of value and quality results surge for personal touch with technical influences. I do think that this is going to be the third pillar, just based off data, right? When people say, "Oh man, I'm not comfortable with AI," I'm like, "Do you remember Microsoft Paperclip? Like, do you remember that little guy that popped up with the eyebrows, and he smiled all the time, right? Like, what do you think that was? That was indoctrination. Like, that was just us getting just a taste of what it felt like to engage and react with a GIF, right? And to ask it questions and then get feedback, or try to sort and find our responses. That we have just seen evolutions of that. Like, if you use a GPS, like, what do you think that's geared or connected to? Have you ever gone to like a new restaurant or store or something like that, and you use your GPS, and later that day or that week or something like that, Google will pop up and say, "Hey, how was your visit?" Like, isn't that crazy? It's like weird. Or maybe you didn't use GPS and does that, or maybe you're by your phone, you're having an entire conversation, and then all of a sudden it pops up the conversation topics, right? This is all related. Like, this is all technology working around us and alongside us, and we just need to learn more about it so that we're not apprehensive about incorporating it as a part of what we do. And it can help us elevate, because if it's doing the menial task, then we can elevate to another standard of, professionalism, living, and really just utilize it for the best human experience possible. So, based on that study, or based off my theory, my hypothesis, I went out into the market, and I want to preface and say that so I performed a campaign, a pick your brain campaign. It was basically just me asking questions to marketers in the industry. I didn't tell them what my hypothesis was. I wasn't telling them why I was asking the specific questions. I just wanted the data. That makes a really good strategist. When you don't tailor or augment the information that you're receiving, you just get it, and then you can modify it to speak to the subject matter that you're looking to respond to. But anyway, so here are the most common responses that I received. As I'm going through this quickly, I'm going to go through this slide quickly. Put in the chat if anything resonates with you. Like, if it, number one, we're not slowing down anytime soon. Does this resonate with you? Do you feel like we're just not slowing down anytime soon? Your organization is going fast. Maybe they just acquired a company. Maybe they're just saying, you know what? We're going to hire more people. We're looking for them. We don't know where the hell the marketers went, but somehow we're going to have to get these proposals done, or we're going to go into a new market or something, but we're not slowing down. I have a lot more responsibility than I thought I would. Man, I signed up for this. I didn't sign up for all of this other stuff, right? This happens because we're going through an evolution. And I believe that the reason why we're having this like influx of responsibilities that are creeping into our day to day is because our organizations are trying to figure out how to navigate change. I'm worried about burnout, right? I'm worried about I'm going to get burned out. My team is going to get burned out. I'm just worried about burned out. I'm worried that I'm going to get burned out. I try to pace myself. I try to make time for myself, but I'm having a hard time doing that. Number four, but we have a high repeat client rate, Melinda, right? And so I have when I create questions and I do this type of questioning, I always have like if and then. So if they say yes, then this is the next question. If they say no, then this is the question. So how we got this response but we have a high repeat client rate was I asked, so how are you feeling about everything? Do you feel like you have a lot of time in your hands? Do you feel like you're overwhelmed? Do you feel like and the answer was no. No, I don't feel overwhelmed. Yes, actually, we're focusing on this initiative in the organization or this or that. And I said, oh, wow, that's congratulations. That's amazing. Um, so how is your repeat client rate? And almost all the time, someone would say, the person would say, um, I mean, good, I guess. I mean, we have like, we have clients. And I said, so, okay, that's great. That's awesome. So it's high. Yes. Oh, yeah. It's totally high. It's so high. Right. And so the next question would be the question I asked then was, okay, so it's high. Awesome. Yes. What is what is your excuse me, your win rate or your capture rate? Oh, um, I mean, we win almost every one. Well, how many is that? Like, based on the last 3 months, how many submittals, like, proposals have you submitted? You know, and then we just do the calculations and math then. But oftentimes, the marketers that we were asking, this question specifically, did not know what what their win rate was or their capture rate. And so we just took the opportunity to share that, share it with them. But I want to go back to the high repeat client rate, what it actually means to me. Um, when I hear high repeat client rate, I think vague because it can mean different things, right? High repeat client rate, like someone keeps coming back to us because they like us. Why do they like us? Is it because we're the cheapest? Is it because we'll just put up with their stuff? Or is it because they are the best fit for our organization? Or it's a mixture of the three, right? Or another reason. So when I hear high repeat client rate, I'm just like, well, if you have a high repeat client rate, and things are going well and you're winning work, your win rate should be your win rate should be higher, right? Like your capture rate should be higher because these numbers all work together. So I take it a step further and I suggest and I submit to you to even look at your own data. You have this information. It's in your your introduction for your company. Find out what the repeat client rate. Look at your proposals to see which ones we're winning, which one we're not winning. Like really start to create data for yourself, not to combat that, but to get better at submittals, get better at strategy, get better at telling compelling stories, because that's actually the way that you can elevate yourself out and up into a new role. I know data is important, but where do I start and what do I do with it? This was a very, very common response when I was talking about data analytics and mining. And that's totally fine. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Um, will AI replace me? Absolutely not, y'all. Like, if anybody has a glimpse of, like, a molecule of questioning that, do not, because you just need to learn more about it. You just need to learn more about AI. You need to learn more about robotics. You need to learn more about technology. It's just new. It's just foreign to you. And when you understand it and you learn more about it, you can see that you can utilize it as a tool to supplement some of the minuscule things so that you can elevate your position at your company. I do so many proposals. This is something that I've heard over and over again. There are many reasons why this could occur. Um, Top of my head, one of the most common reasons that I have seen in my consulting firm is the amount of proposals that they're doing has a lot to do with their branding, their positioning, and their ability to win good work. Like they're really not taking the time to actually capture plan and think ahead. Do I want to work with this client? Does this client have an opportunity that we want to actually work on with them in the future? Or is this the right opportunity to submit on, or should we find another avenue? Like there's so many different questions that we go through during discovery with our clients to find out why they're having so many proposals. Because it should be, yes, it's the majority, it's where the majority of revenue comes from for most companies, but there is a strategic way to do less proposals and just like have more synergy across different departments. I have ideas, but what do I do with them? You have tons of ideas, and I know you do because you're creative, right? Like we have tons of ideas. What about this? And what about that? And what that's cool, and this, that, and the other. Where do I put them? How do I prioritize them? What's important? on and on and on. And what I'm going to say to that is, we just need to be more strategic, and it's really hard to be more strategic and focused on, what's going to move the needle for our careers at our companies. That's really, really, really important. That's the crux of this conversation. So let's talk about the journey and where we're headed, right? So we're going to talk about 5 different aspects of, strategic marketing, the power of a good marketing strategy. There are tons of people that say they're a marketing strategist. I would, you know, say otherwise, because we need to start thinking strategy beyond marketing, beyond the activities that we do every day. What is the strategy beyond that? Because that's actually going to help build the muscle so that we can understand things above marketing, right? Business and operations and things like that. Building strong relationships with leadership. This is really important, and we're going to touch on this. Elevating industry awareness. So what do we know about the industry beyond our company's impact? Achieving alignment with strategic goals and leveling up our marketing game. So what does it look like? Give me some action items, Melinda, some takeaways so that I can really see results in my career as quickly as today, right? Like, what can I do right now? What's in my control right now? So that I can change my career. And that's what I want for you. That's the answer that I want to deliver to you today. So I want you to take a second to look at this photo. This lady, she is having the time of her life. She's in the passenger seat. She's feeling good. She's got her hand out the window. Like, remember when you were a kid and you like kind of like flown your hand and out the window and you're driving down the highway with your parents, right? Or whoever was driving. That freeing moment, like you never worried about your hand being chopped off or anything. But anyway, so this woman, she is just feeling good. She's feeling free as a bird. You can just feel how she feels, right? And she's not driving. Someone else is driving. She's got her eyes closed. She's kind of tilted up, looking at the sun, feeling the warmth, right? Wouldn't you want to feel like this, like every day? Put a 1 in the chat if this is what you want. Like, this is what you work towards, right? Let me see the chat. This chat is not showing up. There you go. Saying my name. I know, Melinda. I know. Melinda and I have the same name. It's funny. When we go to networking events, we totally trip people up. And we're like, "Hi, I'm Melinda," and then she's like, "Hi, I'm Melinda." So I'll watch out for that. Sometimes I forget. Oh man. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. The power of good marketing is about simplifying. Oh my gosh, wouldn't it be more like life would be easier and better if it was just simpler, right? But strategy is about simplifying. It's about simplifying steps, and just cleaning up the extra stuff, the stuff that you don't need. Empowering creativity. Now, if you don't feel empowered right now because you're probably tired or just overwhelmed or stressed, I want to empower you. You have freedom to be creative. And I want you to be creative. I want you to be as creative as you want to be. Directed workflows and processes. So, about strategy is related to the first bullet, simplified steps. Workflows and processes is a big component to strategy. Strategy is not messy. Strategy is simplified, it's focused, it's intentional. And when you build out workflows and processes, after you've experienced several different iterations, you can really, really improve the way things are getting done in the marketing department at your company. Accelerated transformation, not only for the company, not only for the department, but for your career. Now, like when you get all these things aligned and organized, you will be vibing on a different vibe, like on a different level of feeling like, man, I am a subject matter expert. I am a marketer that has value at this organization. And I feel like I can be assertive and really complement what the current conversation, right? Increase satisfaction. I really want this for you. And when it comes to increasing your satisfaction in your career, it has a domino effect. It has like energy is connected, right? It has a domino effect into other areas that we touch, including our role at our companies and the company as a whole. So I say the most valuable asset in history, second to time, is data. Data runs the world, okay? Data is the most, like beyond time, is the most important asset to have in life. I have been lurking Amazon forever. Forever, just watching and tracking them and seeing how they're doing things. The same thing for some of the retailers that are out there. The same thing I'm looking at, like Netflix, and how they're like automating some things, and then they have where you're clicking on maybe a genre if you've never watched before, then you flag it liked, or you just watch it through the whole thing, and then you see more of that. And then Google does the same thing with YouTube. And then when you put a question into the search bar of Google, it will pre-populate similar questions that people have asked before, or answers that they already have scoped out for you. Their bots have scoped out for you on other websites. And so I'm noticing all of this data, because it's all connected with data, information that is being told to it so that it can help us build more efficiency and be more thoughtful and intentional about our activities at work and in our lives. So I wanted to dive into the definition of marketing, because there was a few conversations that I had during my campaign, my Pick Your Bang campaign, interviewing 36 different marketers. And some marketing assistants and marketing coordinators said, well, I mean, I was like, tell me the definition of marketing. Like, what do you think marketing is in the EC industry? And their response really didn't surprise me, because I at one point thought that too. They said, well, I mean, we just do a lot of proposals. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not marketing, that's not marketing, right? So I wanted to really like set a baseline for everybody here in case, just really need to establish where we're going, because we're going to move a lot faster than we have in the last few slides. Wikipedia says marketing is the act of satisfying a retainer and retaining a customer or client, right? It is one of the primary components of business management and commerce, aka sales, right? Can you imagine? Like, did you know that? Did you feel that? Do you know that about you? Like, you are a primary component of business management. When I coach through the AUC Marketing Accelerator, and I'm talking to different marketers, and I'm coaching private one-on-one coaches sessions through Thrive Build with marketers and business developers, and when they say to me, I feel like a warm body, I get so mad, because I'm like, you don't know your value, girl. Like, you don't know your value, dude. Like, you don't understand the bigger picture. And that is the ultimate thing, the focus that you should be focusing on. Like, at work, in your career, you focus on business. Focus on how business is done in your organization. Focus how business is done in the industry, so that you can find alignment with what your skill sets, your talents are. And I mean, you will elevate so fast in your career. I tell you, you'll stand out. AMA says marketing is the activity, set institutions and processes for creating, communicating, delivering, exchanging offerings that have value for customers, clients, partners, and society at large. Oh, and our client companies. Absolutely not. You don't have internal clients. You do not market. Like, when you submit a proposal, you're not marketing to your employer. You're marketing to your clients. Right. So we need to actually make our proposals about them, opposed to, showing how we're amazing and we're cool and great and everything like that. So there is a method called the client journey. And I actually talk about this several different ways in presentations that I do. And so what the client journey is like, it's a journey where a character goes through this experience. And they first start with like their character, like who are they, right? And then there's a stretch, like I want the vision, like I want the thing, and how do I get there? And then they go through this journey of self discovery and turmoil and pain. Like there's always going to be some type of pain in order to stretch, right? Because we're not the person that we want to be in the future. So we go through this journey, and on the end of at the end of the journey, where we have success, we've gotten to where we want to go, however long that journey takes. And oftentimes, I believe that firms, marketers, believe that they are the character in that story. They are not. Your firm is not. Your firm is the guide in the story. It's kind of like Cinderella. Cinderella was not your firm. Cinderella was your client. You are the fairy godmother, right? You're the guide. You're the support, right? So think about that. And then lastly, I have a definition that I've created. As marketing is the art and science of providing a desired solution to an audience that understands its value. No, if your audience doesn't understand the value of what you are delivering, it's going to be really hard to convert. So it's important through the client journey. I think I actually took that out of the slides, but so we have a formula for the client. We call it the client journey flywheel, and we've developed it specifically for the AC industry for firms like yours, that takes them from the awareness all the way through to advocacy. Advocacy is where everybody wants to be, right? You want to have raving fans of your brand, and you want to have a brand, not just a business that you work for, so that everybody's excited. It shifts culture, and it focuses on happiness and people, right? And joy, right? That's really what advocacy activates. But at the awareness phase, this is where, most marketers that I'm seeing, they're missing the mark on awareness. Awareness is like giving your audience the quick wins, right? The small nuggets of value so that they lean in and learn more. You ever watch a YouTube video or listen to a podcast and you don't know who the hell is talking, right? You don't know who the heck is talking, but you hear something that you like. You're like, ooh, that's good. Do you look for a link? Right? You just open a new tab and you start searching for that person. That's like the quick win, right? That's the small quick. That's an example of a quick win. It's something they're like, ooh, I feel like I got value. I'm going to go search for myself. That's, this is the digital age. Data is showing that people are making buying decisions before they interact with sales and business development professionals. It's up to 80%. So if you imagine that, clients and candidates, future candidates are making decisions on your website, social media, way before they interact with your brand. That has a lot to do with how we're positioning in the market, right? Be before the proposal, because the proposal is right in the middle of the journey. It's at conversion. So we have awareness, consideration, and then conversion. Consideration is man, you really provided me value. I wonder if you can help me with my problem, right? And then it's conversion and activation. It's a welcoming stage for new clients and existing clients, and how to really build presence there. Okay, so the next few slides, we're gonna have some fun. So I'm gonna wake you up a little bit. I know it's lunchtime, but I need your fingers. And in the chat, I want you to tell me for the next few slides, who owns this slogan? Now we're gonna start easy. Okay, we're gonna start easy. Always Coca-Cola. All right, put in the chat. Come on, let me see. Are you guys awake? Amazon is always lurking. Amazon is always lurking me, Laura. Diet Pepsi. You would say that, Raphael. Oh my gosh. Come on, y'all. Come on. Always Coca-Cola. Come on. Are you awake? This was easy. There you go. I love it. Liz. Cha-ching. See, one Coke is for me and one Coke is for you. Even though I don't drink Coke. I haven't drank Coke. I don't drink Coke. I haven't intentionally drank a Coke since I was 19 or 20. So that's another story. Coca-Cola, if the Atlanta girl doesn't get that, something is wrong. Oh, man. So, yeah. WDP Meeting Room says Coca-Cola. Hey, WDP. Nice to meet y'all. All right. So that was easy, right? So we warm up a little. All right. I want to know highlight something because it's like an aha for the next few slides. There's always an action word, always, but it's an emotional one. So like when Coca-Cola and other brands go through this this journey of creating their brand, right? They look in different areas and aspects of business. They go beyond what they do. They go to psychology and human resources, and they talk to writers and authors and speakers, and they just hit everybody that has influence to their market, and they find out what resonates with their market, right? And if you read about the story Always Coca-Cola, the slogan, you'll learn, or you might know this, you learned that they wanted to deliver trust to their market in the 80s when there was a lot of drugs and turmoil around that. There was a lot coming from South America into the United States, and it was just Coke. Right, their brand, they needed to rebrand. They were like, I don't want to be associated with Coke. So they just elongated their name. They said, well, AKA, it's always been the Coca-Cola Company, but we want to take it a step further and we want to introduce ourselves as the Coca-Cola Company in 1993. And they had to come up with a slogan that was going to convey two messages. It's always Coca-Cola, so don't call us Coke, right? I know it's a little sly, right? It's a little sly. And then the other one is, we're always going to be there for you. It's always going to be Coca-Cola. Your choice is always Coca-Cola. There were always a good slogan always speaks to the audience, not about the company. Write that down. A slogan is always going to speak to the audience. It's not about the company. It's not about Coca-Cola, the company. It's about the product that's delivering an experience. It's about always Coca-Cola. Choose always Coca-Cola. Remember the experience that you had with Coca-Cola. Okay, cool. All right, just do it. We're starting to get a little bit more, this is like beginner immediate, right? What's your response in the chat? Come on. Just do it. Mm-mm. Do it, do it, do it. Come on, y'all. Nike Indonesia. Come on, Melinda. You are so funny. Oh my gosh, you're hilarious. Nike, Nike, Nike. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Just is this starting to percolate? Like, this is strategy. This is like thinking beyond the words instead of just saying, where our values are determination, motivation, and athletic excellence. We encapsulate it to say, just do it. Boom. Drop mic, brand is created. All right. Think different. Ooh, this is hard. This is a little bit harder. This is a little bit harder. But I asked you if you were a PC or a Mac fan earlier. So I'm hoping that either of you are going to know this. Kalia, she was like, Mac, capital letters, Mac. Liz was like, Apple, baby. Come on. I love it. I love it. Think, right? They're not telling you that the company is committed to innovation, creativity, and challenging the status quo. Right? That's not like, it's not Apple, We have a commitment to innovation, creativity, and challenging the status quo. That's a lot. That's a lot, right? They simplified it. So it's not about being collegiate. It's about being clear. It's not about being collegiate. It's about being clear. Be clear in your messaging. And that goes for aesthetics too. Like all graphics, or branding, everything needs to be as clear as possible. Work hard, have fun, and make history. This is a little harder, but if you were listening earlier, you might have the right answer. Ooh, the chat just went quiet. They were like, Siri. Oh, Liz, you're right. Amazon. Amazon, Amazon, Amazon. Awesome. Yes. Work, have, make. Work, make, right? So is this helping? Is this helping a little bit? It's like, oh man, I have always been thinking, or at least been around, surrounded by strategy. I just need to think about things a little differently, right? And take it to the next level. This is the next level that I want you to have. I want you to have fun creating messages, whether that's in copy and graphics, whatever your forte is, but put it forth like at mastery, at the level of building brands. We need that. This industry needs that. There is this this surge of competition in the last 10 years. There's been a surge of competition. A lot has to do with a lot of different things, including COVID, right? And so what do we do with that? There's only so much we can do with messaging. Like we could take the slogan, but what do we do beyond that? We create the experience that is unique and different to our company, to our brand, right? We're not copy and pasting anymore, right? We're unifying, we're defining something that our audience can resonate with and is naturally attracted to us, right? And is memorable. I don't know when the last time I owned a Nike shoe, but I know their slogan. I told you I haven't drank like intentionally drinking a bottle of Coke since I was about 19 or 20, right? And I'm 40. So thinking about that, it's like, well, the experience can go beyond the service, and you want it to, right? That's how you grow a brand. You want it to go beyond the service. You want the service to be the delivery. You want it to be like okay, we don't really have that much time, but if you want more of this, like diving into the client journey flywheel, I will do it in a completely different webinar. You let me know in the chat. I will do a completely different webinar and explain it. There is a difference between the messaging that you use at awareness versus the messaging that you use at conversion, adoption, or activation and advocacy. It's completely different. It has a lot to do with emotional buying decisions and then logical buying decisions. And emotional buying decisions are validated with logic. So understanding like throughout the entire journey of buying, you can actually elevate yourself in strategy and messaging and understand specifically like how to tailor things. So if you want that, I will package that and create a webinar specifically for that if we want to dive in a little bit deeper. Let's keep going. Tactic, strategy, repetition. Usually people say to me, well, I just keep doing it over and over and over again, or I stopped doing it, right? Like it didn't work the first time. And it's just what I consider misdirected, right? It is literally the definition of insanity. It's like you're expecting a different result. Of course, you're going to get the same result as you did before, but you can't say that it doesn't work unless you work it, right? Unless you evolve it. You evolve the process, you evolve it to another standard, another level of mastery. And that's where we can see how things get easier. Anybody is a jigsaw puzzle person? I did so many jigsaw puzzles during COVID, I would tell you. I am a masterful jigsaw puzzler person, right? I am not amateur, right? Has anybody in the chat? Yeah. Okay. So I love jigsaw puzzles. I am strategic about jigsaw puzzles, and I suggest you to do the same. You'll see when you start practicing more and more and more, because I already know that you're strategic, but go step further and think more about like, how can I assemble the steps, the practices, the systems in a way that simplifies activities. So like this photo here, this gentleman just like dumped all the puzzles. Of course, this is for a picture, but it dumped all the puzzle pieces together, and he's got a puzzle piece in his hand, right? Like that's not realistic for me. Like I would never do it that way, gentlemen in the photo. I would separate it by color and then whether or not it's an edge. So I would have blue edges and then blue inside pieces and then red edges and then red side. And then once I have all of that coordinated, I take the cover of the box, I tilt it up, I just put it on the side, and then I will use that as like, just my guide and say, okay, well, that's where red goes, pink goes here, blah, blah. I have cut down. I am so efficient at doing puzzles. I have cut down the amount of work in puzzles significantly because I took the time to plan ahead before I actually acted. And that's the power of strategy. When you're thinking like, oh man, I got to go into this another proposal or project, we do a lot of proposals in our industry, or I got to create a new the craft right. Like you just get tired, right? You get tired because you're getting burnt out, right? Because you have like all these emotional things. We'll talk about it later, but emotional things are impacting our ability to be logical about decision making so that we can feel excited about things. And when we break it down, then we can logically see that we're making progress, and then we speed up. It's an evolution. It's like, man, okay, so last time I just dumped all the puzzle pieces in the center. That took forever. That was a mistake. But this time I'm going to try Melinda's way, a little crazy, but I'm going to separate the colors and the sides from the inside pieces. Like evolve. And then, oh, you know what? I figured out another way to do it a lot faster than the way Melinda did it. And I'm going to do it this way. And then I figured out another way and another way. And you just continue to evolve until, you basically just continue to evolve, right? And see the success in that. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more here, the strategic loop. This is a proprietary loop or a process that we have created here at Fortis OVM. And it starts with implement new data. It always starts with implementing new data because new data is the idea, right? I had the idea that there was going to be a change in the industry, and that was going to impact pretty much everybody, right? Everything and everyone. Response, I went out into the market and I wanted to find this out. I went to ENR, I went to PDSE, I went to different publications. I spoke to decision makers and my clients. I talked to marketers in the industry. I talked to marketing assistants, marketing coordinators, marketing managers, marketing directors, business developers, um, chief marketing officers, associates, and principals. All right. I talked to as many people as I could in a given time frame. I was really intentional about that activity within a structured time. And then it gave me a response. Am I correct about my hypothesis? Or am I not? Now, if it said no, I don't just walk away and say, oh, that doesn't work, right? Like, oh, I'm wrong. I want to find out what I'm wrong about. Like, I want to assess, like, what's the part that's wrong? I want to adjust. What can I adjust and modify so that I can put this through the loop again? Articulate how can I modify the language so that it's more agreeable or more, it resonates more, or what my idea is. Was my idea wrong, or does it need to be modified to be closer to how people are feeling and thinking right now? And if it's a yes, awesome. We go through the loop of reviewing. It starts with review. It goes to it starts to improve, right? Because we got a yes. That yes doesn't mean we stop. Yes means, okay, what are we right about? And then we improve everything else, and we review the whole picture. Then we repeat. So we want to repeat this process over and over again to review. It's kind of like when you listen to a movie or a song on the radio. We just don't do that anymore. I don't know. You guys listen to the radio? And years ago, I used to listen to this song by Missy Elliott. Oh man, it's like in my head. I remember so vividly. I like despise the song. Like I remember listening to the radio and I'm like, oh, the song again. Like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. I hate the song. I'm waiting to listen to Boyz II Men right now. And I would wait and just let the song play, right? Lower it a little bit, do some other things, do my homework, whatever. And then Boyz II Men would come on. And then a few hours later, then, Missy would come back with that song and then over and over again. And by the fifth or seventh time I heard the song, I was like, let me work it. Da, 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 da. Even though I hate the song, it's like stuck in my head because I went through this process of like improving my idea, my understanding of the idea, reviewing it, and then repeating it over and over again. So it's just human psychology. It's literally what media is doing to us every day. But I digress. Okay, so these blue dots were yes and no, like the center of these blue dot activities. This is where you put the wins. This is where you put the wins. You always celebrate wins. I don't care how small they are. I don't care how big they are. You're always celebrating wins. You celebrate wins now. This is what you do. You're walking away from this webinar. You're celebrating every win. You're going to celebrate the win of being part of this conversation. You're going to celebrate the win of, just having fun, right? You just have fun learning. But this strategic loop is based off the law of probability. The more that we go through the process of understanding our data, understanding our resources, understanding the problem, we get better at it. As you test and measure iterations, the results will become more of what was originally desired. But I have a challenge for you. Oftentimes when people say, the problem is leadership won't listen to me. The problem is they're just going to delay things. They don't want to hear it. Who do I present this to? Blah, blah. Like there's always something. And I was there. I was internal for a long time, right? And I had to switch my understanding because for a long time, I would let that bother me so much that it impacted my performance. And I'm like, no, I'm better than this, right? I produce quality. Like that is what I do, right? It's self-talk, but it's also very important that we do that as people, that remind ourselves of our value, going back to the definition of marketing, right? So when I'm thinking about what the root problem is, it wasn't at the time, even though leadership be leadershiping, right? Problems be probleming, math not be mathing, right? Um, all of those things were happening. That wasn't the root of the problem. It felt like it because we were surrounded by it. We saw it. That was physically like what was in our arena, but it was deeper than that. So this picture intentionally selected. So some trees actually, when they grow tall, they also grow deep roots, similar size, length. So say for example, if it's 100-foot tree, the roots will be 100 feet long. Imagine, when was the last time you saw a tree with 100 feet long roots? Never. You've never seen it because it grows down and out, right? So we only see pieces and parts of a root. But a lot of what keeps it growing or keeps it standing is at the root, right? So when we're thinking about what problems are that we're trying to solve, let's go a little bit deeper than what we can see. Let's use the method of the 5 whys and dig a little bit deeper into the root system so that we can understand why we originally had the problem in the first place and attack it, right? Attack it. How can we help solve the problem with leadership? How can we be a partner in that? Okay. Focus is the hardest thing we'll ever do in life. It is by far the hard. It is so hard for me. I will sit here and I will be like, "Ooh, I need to go do that," and I need to write down my remarkable because I love that dang thing. Thank God for a checklist. I love checklists. I live by checklists. I live by my calendar, and it's because I need discipline. It's because we all need discipline, right? So when it comes to focus, especially when we're being creative about strategy and we're thinking about different solutions, it could be very easy for us to just say, oh, what about this idea? And then go on this like squirrel, like this path of, a distance focus, a new solution, a new problem, right? But that actually deteriorates our ability to accelerate success because then we start to like separate our energies into different areas and we're not able to give 100%. So let's go ahead and transition to building strong relationships with leadership. I pause because I know that this is a pain, especially right now. There's a lot of impacts to the industry, and we're going to talk about that in a few slides. And that obviously is impacting decisions, reactions, responses, right? And of course, we're like, we just want to be creative. We just want to do our job. We're just good, just help us help you, like we're just trying to work with you. And sometimes that can be really challenging. And I want to express to you a couple of things that I had to do to shift when I was working in internal to basically change a lot of that. I call it functioning in fear. So I wanted to understand, where is my leadership coming from when I had an idea that didn't cost them a dime. Like, where were they coming from when they turned me down, right? Or what I felt they were turning me down. We've never done that before. That would be the response. Has anybody got that before? Put a yes in the chat. Have you ever heard, we've never done that before? Right? It's like, oh, I guess they don't want to do it, I guess so. I guess that's what they're saying, right? And we feel like that's a no. Instead, I want to suggest to you to see that as I don't know. Like you're asking some for something and they're like, we've never done that before. Like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to start. So is this an opportunity to say, you know what, I can craft a roadmap, right? Like in my head, I'm like, when I pitch this, I can craft a roadmap so that they know where they are right now and how to get to where, they want to be. And here's my pitch, here's my delivery. It's not like oh, I think we should use the CRM system. This would be really cool. It would save us a ton of time. We've never done that before. Right? Like, what's the roadmap? How do we get from where we are to where we are going to be? That's how we improve our ability to communicate in different languages. That's not our primary focus. Oh man, I love hearing this, with a little smirk on the side. I love that, John. I love getting that because what it tells me is they might not understand what marketing's responsibility is. And it possibly could be an opportunity for me to educate them through us working together. Right. So I don't see it as a no. I don't see it as oh, he's trying to be smirk. He's trying to just he's like, I don't know. Like, I just don't know. Right. It's similar to the first one. That's not what we do. Right. That's not, well, homie, like we're evolving, like we're not pulling buggies no more, like things are evolving. Is this the way? Or isn't it? Should we go through an iteration, right? Should we use a strategic loop? I'll email you comments soon. Oh, I love this. I remember there was this one time that sticks out in my head. Oh my gosh. It was like 5:50 on a Thursday afternoon. And that bad boy proposal was due the following day at 1 p.m. and printed, by the way. And man, that PM was so confident. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm going to work on that right now and I'll send it to you shortly. And I was like, okay. So my happy butt, I was like, okay, I'm going to stick around so that when he sends it to me, it's here, right? And so I was so disappointed when it came at 9:00. I was like, the whole night, But what if I just reply back and said, ETA? Like, what if I just responded and said, do you think you'll have it available before 6:00? Or do you think we should pick up in the morning or whatever? Like you could send it to me, but I'm going out to dinner. I'll pick up where we left off when I check in the morning. Like some type of conversation instead of getting stuck. And honestly, it's not our fault. It's honestly not our fault. When you understand where marketers came from in the industry, you understand that there was not beyond SNPS, right? And organizations like that, there wasn't a roadmap to say, like, this is how we need to soft skills, like this is how we needed to respond, react to things. It was like step by step of what job does. But then when different things occur, we're like, okay, so how do we handle this? And, if we don't know how to handle it or we don't know anything about it, similar to how we feel, or some of you might feel about AI, it's like, well, we don't know how we would feel about it, so we're going to be afraid of it. It's like, no, speak up. Like, it's okay. Be assertive. Speak up and say, I'm not sure I understand. You're doing them a favor by being clear. But these are some of the challenges, and I say some because there's so many more of the challenges that leadership is dealing with. None of it is marketing, right? They're delegating that responsibility to you and your team, and they're focused on the people problems, the productivity problems, and the profit problems. And what I want to emphasize here is what unifies creatives and engineers, because oftentimes we see the differences and then we forget sometimes that we both solve problems. Like we both are focused on solving a problem. And that's really, really important to take away from here is sometimes it's going to be challenging. Sometimes it's going to be uneasy, but remember what actually unifies us in doing business. So this is a Venn diagram that we use during discovery when we're talking with clients and prospects, but just like helping you understand here that for the most part in the AEC industry, there is a gap. Like in the white area, that's typically where a CMO, a chief marketing officer, would live. We're just starting to see that growth evolution happening, right? Congratulations, right? But for a really long time, a marketer, the marketing responsibility fell under the engineer until they needed to delegate that responsibility. So there was no like, we need a marketer, right? Like it wasn't that type of conversation. They didn't know what they didn't know. They were like, we just need to let go of these responsibilities because of the demand. Going back to understanding different eras, there was a demand. We need to build more, right? That's just what it was. So we need to delegate those responsibilities. That role specifically was called an administrative assistant, and then it transitioned to marketing, and it's been redefined. Like like you Google marketing assistant, marketing coordinator, you'll get different descriptions. There's proposal coordinators. There's like different terms and descriptions for things, because there's not one unified description or term. And I believe it was because of the evolution of what was needed and demanded at different companies, different sectors of the industry, and different sizes of the company. Some evolved, like the bigger firms, like a Kimberly Horn, HNTB, they evolved. Whiting Turner's done a great job of evolving their titles, their roles, their descriptions, and some of them haven't, right? The ones that I pointed out have descriptions that are specific to their brands, not something that's cookie cutter from the industry. And I want to emphasize that here. This is where Fortis WM comes in to help organizations understand the value of CMO so that they can really, round out their organization. But for you, think about that. Like, this is the gap that exists in organizations, small and medium, which is the majority of our industry. So what can we do to solve problems with firms? We can follow the money. Like, where is the money that we're getting coming from? And where is the money coming from? And then if it's an employee-owned company, where is it going? Right? Let's talk on that high level, right? Let's think that big. Go above and beyond for the data. For a long time, yes, you stuck to your role and responsibilities. You stuck to what you were responsible for. You stayed in your lane, right? That doesn't work when you're evolving. Like, it just doesn't, because we're moving, we're changing, we're evolving. You want to be a part of that conversation, because this is the opportunity that you have. I went to a presentation or conference yesterday for USGBC, and it was called Women in Green, Fresh Perspectives. And there was a panel there, and from USF, UCF, and then the moderator was from DLR Group. And I'm listening to the conversation, and I'm just like, wow, this is amazing. Like, this is amazing. One of the topics that we talked about for a while is how organizations are creating job titles based on of sustainability. Like, there's a chief sustainability officer at Turner, I think. I think that was the organization that Alex mentioned. So it's happening, it's occurring, right? There's evolution. Let's just get on the bandwagon for marketing and see, like, so much has changed for marketing. Let's see how we can evolve our roles so that we can help our organizations reach their goals. Speak up and be assertive. We talked about this earlier. Lean into your strengths beyond your role. You have your job. You also have gifts. You have talents, right? Are any of those valuable and could be useful in your career climb and align with your company's strategic plan? Definitely investigate that. That's really, really, really crucial. But here's something that one of the surveyors said, is all they care about is money. And I said, absolutely. I was like, you want them to care about money, because they're thinking we have to take care of their livelihood. Like, we're looking out for our employees' families and our employees, and making sure that they have somewhere to go to every day, right? So yes, you want them to continue to think about money, but what are the other responsibilities, the other challenges that you can help alleviate their pressure so that they can focus more on you, right? So just think about that a little bit differently, if that's something top of mind for you. Industry awareness, increasing your industry awareness. Go beyond what your firm does. Go beyond what your competitors do. Go beyond what your clients do. Like, go big, right? Not just AEC. Look at you can look at the commercial real estate, look at the market, like stock markets, right? If you have a 401k IRA, this is a great opportunity for you to like go learn a little bit more about those programs. You just kind of test the waters, kind of play with it, but understand how things work, right? Download the app MSNBC. It's a ticker app, and it helps, it's really great. You can, if it's, or is it MSNBC or CNBC, sorry. CNBC, sorry. CNBC, it's a ticker. So you can actually go and look and track, different publicly traded companies in our industry, outside of our industry, whatever. But it just starts to kind of help you understand and track data. Like, where's the money going? How is this impacting the economy? How is this impacting our community? How is this impacting my state? How is this impacting municipalities? How is this impacting this project? Where did this project come from that we're responding to in an RFP? Where did the money come from that is in this RFP's budget, right? All of those things. You want to know those answers. Okay. Leveling up your marketing game. So take a screenshot of this. This is what I want you to do. This is your homework for yourself. Become the Sherlock Holmes of marketing. This is my term. This is what I believe in. Every marketer in the AC industry should be the Sherlock Holmes. If you don't know the answer, go look for it. Do your due diligence until you're blue in your face. Like, you're just, okay, I don't know the answer to this. I don't know where this money is coming from. I'm going to Google the heck out of it. I'm going to find out what agency is delivering this through a grant or whatever it might be, but I'm going to find the answers to this, and I'm going to build out personas. So client personas, we can dig into this separately. If you have a question about that, just put it in the chat. But client personas are really, really helpful because, okay, they're really helpful. I'll just leave it at that because we're running out of time. Collect and understand how to read data. So important. Do a YouTube video, Google how to read data. So helpful, but also practice that. And we just talked about a ton of data that marketers have readily available. Like, we have tons of data available. How do we use that to tell a story? How can we articulate value above the status quo in the industry, above our competitors, beyond like saying we deliver on time and within budget? Like, that's standard. That's like baseline. We want to benchmark our value, right? We want to stand above our competition and in the market and be really memorable. Learn how to tell compelling, action arousing stories. So get it to a point where the stories you tell convey a message and convert. Like, they convert into activity. It could be as simple as like, okay, I'm going to work on storytelling and social media. Like right now I'm working on storytelling and social media, and my call to action is really simple. I keep my call to action simple. I'm telling a story. I have a point. There is a strategy I'm going to share with you right now. It's called the point story. It's super easy. So usually you have 3 points, you have 3 stories, or you have a continuation of the same story and different points within the story. So you make a point, like I just said, be the Sherlock Holmes of marketing. Here's the story, why, right? And then create client personas. Here's the story, why. If you get better at that, it's going to be easier for you to convey your messaging and really resonate with a person. And think about the stories as ways of connection, right? So think of stories that your audience can relate to. Like recently, I had a story on my LinkedIn about going to a grocery store and the automatic doors didn't open on me. Like, that's a story, so just think about things that people can relate to, a part of your messaging at the top of the funnel, and that will help the rest of your messaging along the way. Create your own career goals. So your company has a career path or may have a career path. This is the time, y'all, you should be like celebrating, go out for drinks, a happy hour tonight. Like, this is opportunity. I wish I had this. I didn't have this. You guys have it. I'm telling you all this so that you can stay ahead of what's happening in our industry. Create your own career goals. Have a conversation with your manager. Sit down or your boss or whoever you report to, and sit down with them and talk about what this looks like. I went through the strategic plan and I see that these are the initiatives in 2026. And so I have these skills and I want to take this certification so that I can be a part of that effort to champion it. I mean, be strategic, pitch yourself, you have value. Learn new skills constantly. Don't stop learning, but learn more about the business aspect, I would say, instead of, well, you can learn about the creative because the creative is changing significantly too. AI has a lot to do with that as well. But make sure that there's a balance that directs towards your goals, so that it makes sense for you, right? It makes sense for you and it provides value to your organization. Cool, cool. All right. So let's go. All right. Come on, y'all. Do you know who Noodles the Pooch is? If you're not following Noodles the Pooch, um, follow on Instagram, Noodles the Pooch. Hilarious, hilarious. Okay. But can you make this look pretty? I love when people ask me this. Oh my gosh, this is like, I'm being facetious, obviously. But this was a turning point for me because I realized why they were asking me this. When you get questions, when you're looking at your RFP and they're asking questions, you're like, why do they need like audited financials for like 5 years? You know what I mean? Like, well, let's think about it. What was 5 years ago? 2019. They probably want to see how well we did through COVID. You know what I mean? Like, try to think a little bit beyond the question and really understand why they're asking the question and then articulate it just simply, just not adding, a storybook long, but just mentioning like we're including their financials. And so maybe in your introduction in your proposal, you mention, your commitment to people and, how, business growth during, the last few, like address it, like the last few years, da da da. Like if it's a positive aspect of your organization that you should tell that's going to differentiate your organization, why not? Right? Why not? And then be able to have a discussion around that with your proposal team so that you guys can make a solid decision, that everybody has buy-in and on. But instead of thinking about, well, I'm not making everything pretty, I don't know why they say that. What they're saying is, what they can't articulate is they're asking about branding. Like, can you make this look pretty? Oh, I actually got comfortable with saying in response to them, oh, you mean uh, marry this with our look and feel so that it's consistent with our branding and so that it conveys our messaging more consistently across all of our messaging, our brands, our content, right? Like educate them. They don't know. I remember the first time I said this, the eyebrows, like thinking about the clipboard, the paper clip, like the eyes went, whoop. It was like, yes, that's exactly, it was like, yes, that's exactly what we meant. And alleviating some of the emotion out of that conversation really helped me connect with that person because they were like, oh my gosh, like they're not going to, Melinda's not going to get, overwhelmed. And if they only knew me just a few years ago, I would be like, oh my gosh, why are they doing that? But now I get it. I totally understand. The AEC Marketing Accelerator is a program that we offer for our clients who are trying to reorganize or just kind of like build systems and processes to help accelerate the process of, just getting to your goals, right? The business goals. And so we have a group coaching call that we host every Thursday. We had one this morning. And this was a few weeks back, but these are the two top questions that were asked is if you could give your younger self a piece of career advice, what would it be? And honestly, I think I said grace, right? Like I think I said just like, just having grace, like seeing everything as an opportunity that's for me, opposed to against me, and I can never fail, right? Like it might be a no, but it's never a no, right? It's just a different avenue. Going back to the strategic loop, I just find other ways to iterate it so that I can get a more aligned outcome of what I originally wanted, right? I never stop at no. I just keep iterating, right? What marketing skills should young AC market professionals be building now to help them continue to grow? Business, okay? BSUINESS. Please write it down. Know the business. When you can know the business, man, like it's just the game stop. Like it just changes. The game changes. Game changes. Go to industry events with your PEs. Go to the industry events outside of marketing and see what's going on. Go to industry events where your clients' industry events, right? Like, see how things are working and what they're talking about and how they're interacting with each other. Go to their blog posts, go to their social media. Look at the market. Look at the strategic plan. Look at the business plan of your organization. Like, dig deep, dig deep. I promise you, it's going to pay off. It'll pay off in such a big way, big wins. Okay. Here's what I have. This is the conclusion of my hypothesis, the research, the data mining, the analytics, the conversations, all of the stuff that I did. I concluded the new era of AEC is starting right now. It's right now, y'all. We're like in it right now. It is changing now. What that means is that we have a significant amount of opportunity, and we have to identify it and align with what's right for us, not with everything, but what's right for us. Because we want to create brands, right? We don't want to just have businesses, we want to have brands. Those are solid, those are strong, those are never ending. And I really need to emphasize this, because this is something that I want to help you elevate to the next level, climb that corporate ladder, really create positions and opportunities for the future of AEC, so that when you are in the C-suite and you can help those up, right? And knowing like what it looks like, what roles you helped to create and develop for the future. When is the right time to plan? Before the problem arises, not now. Before the problem arises, you want to think like, okay, well, we're not in 2030 yet. How long is this going to take to think about this? I want you to, like, another homework item, I want you to start thinking about, like, what are your career goals? Like, what can you relay to your report about your career? Like, where do you want to go? Start to think about that right now, as it pertains to how the AEC industry is changing, as it pertains to strategic goals and plans of the organization, because at the end of the day, that's where we're going. Here are some questions. What are the firm's goals? Like, this is something that you should know. How can you contribute to the journey towards destination? And how can marketing help track, tell, and target prospects? Okay. So that's the real freedom. Like, originally, the picture depicted her feeling free. Like, I don't have to drive. I can just enjoy. But what if her freedom came from within? And she actually had confidence and control over where she was going, because she had a part in making that. So creating systems, save time, track tasks, right? Delegate as much as possible. So creating systems around proposals, start there. That's the biggest moneymaker for an organization in the AEC industry. How can you create systems? How can you simplify your activities? The majority of time that it takes to develop a proposal has a lot to do with even just finding information. If you track that just for like a month, right? And you could propose different ways to solve that efficiently, how much better would life be? So what should you do next? Okay, I gave you some homework, but I want you to become the subject matter and take control of your career right now with peace of mind. I don't want you to be worried. I don't want you to be stressed. I don't want you to be overwhelmed. I don't want you to feel that. I want you to feel peace. I want you to feel comfort. I want you to feel like, finally, like, finally, I can enjoy this. I can enjoy this ride up. So I want to invite you to Do Less Proposals Masterclass. It's going to be next week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's an hour per day for general admission. There is going to be a VIP option, but this is about taking what we learned today and then actually applying it. So we're actually going to be doing the work. Like, you're not going to have to do this on your own. You're going to do this with me and the rest of your peers in the industry, so that we can elevate together, right? I can help you elevate to where you want to go as quickly as possible, as much as I can. I pour in a lot. Some of y'all know. Some of y'all know how much I pour. But it's about aligning yourself with BD goals, your business development goals of your organization, streamlining your process and your proposal process. So how can I help that? How can I help you do that? What is your current process? And what are some ways that we can iterate together so that we can solve that? We can build some more efficiency in your organization, and saving you ton of time proposals. Improve your ability to get noticed and invited to critical meetings. And that's really, really important to a lot of you. And I think that it should be, because those are conversations where decisions are being had and you should be a part of that conversation. But we have to get you there. Like, we have to get you prepared there. Like, you're going to an event, right? A gala. Like, we need to get you dressed and ready to go. So this is going to be a 3-day masterclass. Registration closes tomorrow, end of day. And it's only, I'm keeping this as cheap as possible because I know it's going to be challenging, but I want you guys to get the most out of this experience and really get results. So you can either select from general admission, that's going to be the masterclass, or general admission and Q&A, where you get to bring questions to the conversation. And we get to rough it out with the rest of your peers so that you can get those results through 3 days, just 3 days. So we're going to talk about discovering how to become your Sherlock Holmes of marketing, right? Like, you can become that searcher. Learn how to create client personas. I'm going to give you a template on that so that it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy, just plug and play. Learn the basics of interpreting data. Learn how to create compelling, action-arousing stories. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dive deep, and it's a formula. I cannot wait to share that with you. Create your own career goals. That's a big one for y'all, for a lot of people that I talked to when I was doing the research, and then discovering how to build a bank of valuable skills for the new era of AEC, because I want you to be a part of this. I want you to be a part of the new era, and you are a part of the new era. You're here. So obviously it's important to you. And what I want to share with you, remind you, is what you're missing if you don't do the masterclass. Everything stays the same. You feel overwhelmed and burnt out. You stay overlooked and hidden, and you continue the journey without direction and clarity, and you miss out on feeling empowered and inspired. And I want you to feel empowered and inspired. I don't want you to feel stuck, overwhelmed, and just like going through day by day, just on the brink of burnout. Like, I don't want that to happen to you. I want to help you as much as I can. So in the link, we're in the chat, we're going to go ahead and drop a link for you to sign up for this 3-day masterclass. It's not for everybody. I get that. But for those who actually take advantage of this opportunity, I guarantee things will change for you in your career. And it's going to be for the better. So I'm going to take the next few minutes just to answer questions that y'all have. But yeah, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for letting me be a part of this conversation. You can go ahead and just put your questions in the chat. And I can cover anything that we've talked about earlier or talk about the masterclass, whatever you need. This was fun. Great stuff. You always did a great job. Appreciate your passion for the industry. Thanks, Jennifer. Elizabeth Roach, great webinar. I appreciate your insight and your passion for the people in this industry. Absolutely, Liz. Always. Love you much. Fill up the love buckets. Absolutely. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Cool. Guys, did you guys have fun? Did you guys have fun? Melinda, Brittany, you still here? You have fun? I got a heart. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, all. Hands down amazing. Thank you so very much. I appreciate that. So enjoy your day. Look out for another presentation and webinar for the client journey flywheel. We'll dive deep into that 5 rungs in the heart and head selling. And yeah, this was amazing. So enjoy the rest of your week. And I hope that this was valuable to you. Bye. Bye-bye.